Rock and roll.
We cut that one down and then we cut the.
Being as it's 5 o'clock, we call the Planning Commission January Planning Commission meeting to order.
Not yet.
Look to adopt the agenda. Being as it's 5 o'clock, we call the
Oh, hold on.
Planning Commission January.
All right. Keep going. So we're looking for a motion for the agenda.
I'll move it be approved as distributed.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made to adopt the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Look for approval of the 2020 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to approve the December 17th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Hey, Chad, you want to take the site planning review?
Actually, I'll pass that on to Randy. So if Randy wants to kind of talk about it.
Well, it's the development of an area on Shawano for self-storage units.
Yep.
I reviewed the plan and I found it to be, as my memo stated, substantially in compliance. But I am looking for a little guidance on the definition of parking stall. Parking in its broadest sense is a space to leave vehicles. But I believe we have to allow some consideration for the use of the structure. People are not going to be parking as they would at a commercial retail establishment. They're just going to be pulling up and dropping off household items and then leaving. So that's where the setback comes in. The ordinance reads, if parking is provided, a 50-foot distance must be provided. But is it actually parking? Or is it a loading berth? So I'd like some guidance on that.
And does everybody know where this is located? Did you guys pick up on that? Just north of Walmart, the corner of Partridge and Shawano? So everybody kind of knows where that's at too.
Are these going to be doors on both sides?
Several units will be yes. But the ones directly on
street?
the property lines will not be.
So these over here.
Access from one side.
So they won't need to be pulling up and dropping off anything there.
On those sides, correct.
We need Dan to,
And Dan is here. If you guys have any questions for the owner, you want to come up, you can kind of talk on the mic.
So as Randy was saying, in regards to like parking, there really isn't parking going on here. So the driveway is going to come in here. So it's going to be straight across from, what is the name of that street? Partridge. So we're going to try to line this driveway with Partridge, right? So just for safety. So, you know, people are going to come in here, you know, you're going to drive down here, they're going to stop, load and unload some stuff, come around here, turn around and leave. So same thing down here. You're going to drive down here, you're going to unload your stuff, you know, come around and go. You know, it's not like going into Walmart where somebody stops and parks for a half hour and you know, goes in the store, abandons their vehicle and comes back. So it's more like a queuing space, you know, like school buses dropping off and things like that. So that's why Randy was saying that the concept of the parking as it applies to other commercial establishments, that really isn't how this property is getting used. So, you know, we have 25 feet here and then 10-foot green space. So we're 35 feet off is what we are off the street here. And the same thing on this street here, we're 35 feet off. Yeah, so that's really the gist of the project.
anybody have any questions for him?
Are you going to be putting electric to all the buildings?
I'm sorry?
Electric to all the buildings?
Yeah, yes, we would. If the city's willing to work with me on that.
Utility is.
Yes. All right. Right, because we'll have security lighting, along all the buildings.
The only time I've ever seen cars parked at a storage building is when, like, sometimes they put them on the end of the building and they park them overnight. Are you gonna allow that?
We don't allow any overnight parking at our other facility, because it just starts the habit of people think they can leave their boat there for the weekend and all that kind of ridiculous stuff. So we don't allow it. We won't have storage access on the ends of these buildings. It's just going to be on the sides. So it doesn't, conflict this flow from going in any of the aisles.
Well, and
Question?
35 feet should not block any vision on Shawano Street coming off Partridge or,
Now, the buildings are outside the vision clearance triangle.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have a concern with, and I don't know if it's beyond this already, is that if that is our business district out there, having those storage units and stuff, would that not allow, or would it make it like it wouldn't be as a good of an area to expand our business area? When I envision storage units, it's always like at the, out in the country or in the edge of the city, where the city ends, as far as this business. Would it discourage any other kind of development? I know it's manufacturing now, and stuff, but it could expand, out, and then we have a big set of storage units. I don't know if this is past that discussion, but that would be just a concern that I would have.
Right. The reason we chose this property is because it had appropriate zoning, and there's a huge need for storage in a retail location close to where people live. Okay? People are driving 3, 4, 5 miles to get to a storage unit where we have customers that let's say they have a small business in town or something. They go to their storage units almost every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a need for that. And, we're going to have green space. We're going to have a nice looking facility.
I'm just,
it's
my
not-
concern is it going to discourage anyone else from going further out, into that area? That's the only thing that
Well, it might encourage them to start using what's across the road
Mhm.
and stay closer in
Yeah.
to, and the King, isn't that King Storage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Around
just
the
down the
curve.
road.
Yeah.
And Evans has some by the industrial park as
Mhm.
well.
So, I think any development out there is great, especially if it's a nicely run operation. I think we sure could use some more development in that area.
I think,
Maybe it'll spur some activity out
I
there.
think the area you picked is great because you got all those apartment houses that are being built out there. And like you said, they got to have some place to store.
Right. There's definitely a need there.
I think that's kind of like having a garage, just like they're having their own personal garage. So I don't know.
Right. It's kind of hard to not have a garage.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Everybody's got so many toys.
Any other questions?
We're looking for a
First of all, to Randy's point, technically, if it's considered parking, it, correct me if I'm wrong, would kind of be in violation of what the current code talks about right now. But is this parking? Are we okay with saying this is more loading zone, in and out?
Right. Yes.
Well, a couple of signs saying loading zone help.
Well,
no
Well,
overnight,
it's
no
just-
overnight parking?
Yes.
No overnight
Right.
parking?
It's just how the property, that's how that type of facility is used. We monitor ours over here on North Street. So we got a really good gist of, how much traffic there is in there per 100 units. We understand how the units are being used. If we felt there should be 50 feet here, we'd put 50 feet there. We want a well-functioning facility.
Dan, did you talk about materials? I can't remember if I read that in there, but what's the material on the outside? You're looking at steel, looking at
Yeah,
Siding?
there'll be steel buildings.
steel buildings.
What does the ordinance say now that, what is it? What is parking, definition of parking in the ordinance? Is there anything like
I
that?
don't know if we have a definition of
State
parking in the
that.
ordinance.
Space to leave vehicles.
That's all it says?
That's pretty much all it says.
Well, if you're not allowing to leave vehicles, then
It's not parking.
that's no
It's
parking.
not parking. Okay,
We're looking for a motion to approve the,
Site plan, yep.
yeah, I would entertain the motion to approve Mr. McFall's storage buildings.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I guess you got her.
okay, thank you for your time.
Review and approve various mural proposals.
Yeah, so Susan Polson and I see there's a couple others from the Wolf River Art League are here to talk about the next round of murals. They've been busy over the winter getting things ready. And just a point, I know there were some other people that walked in. If you haven't already, make sure you sign in at the desk up here. Can't tell who's all here, but if you haven't signed in, please do that sometime. But Susan, if you want to kind of run through, I'll give you the mouse and you can rock and roll if you'd like.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna actually start on the Patriotic Mural, and I believe that one's already passed, but I'll just share it. So this is the tentative plan, and this is gonna be the first mural that we start as soon as the weather will allow us.
Now this one, they did approve it, but they asked at the time to kind of combine it, but what they did in talking with Susan and Lori, this is their envision of it. So I think it kind of gives you a better idea of what they were talking about doing the building.
There will be a few other factors that aren't showing on here is that the fence will be either painted or hopefully a new fence on that bottom portion. Also like the door and the railing that comes down, that's gonna hopefully be painted in a way that it will kind of vanish or disappear. So it won't be such a focal point.
How were the veterans with the design? Did you,
They helped design it. They're on board. They know all about everything that we're doing, and we keep them posted as, if anything needs to be adjusted or changed. Once we're done with the painting, they have plans to do the landscaping around the bottom as well. So it should look awesome, I think, and just what they have envisioned. So it'll be great. This is the back, the north side of the kickboxing. I don't know the name of the kickboxing place on the front, but there's the kickboxing place, and then to the right of this building is Patty's Hair Affair.
It's the old bookstore.
If you see
Yeah.
in the little tiny image in the middle, it shows both buildings with the rounded hump on top. And this is going to be sort of a 70s sunset looking mural. It's going to go across both buildings, and the top is going to be black or dark gray in order to hide those big air conditioners, because those are a sore spot on the wall for both businesses. So they'll kind of be camouflaged and hide. This is up on Beckert Road. My husband Kelly painted the other side that faces Trinity Church. And this is the opposite side. So the west side of the building here, it'll be something similar to this. So when you're coming along Beckert, heading towards St. Joe's, you'll see another pretty mural. This is on Pearl Street on the Breeze Bar on their fence. Not, I guess, the greatest vision here to see, but it's going to be painted as if it looks like it's an open fence. So it'll have like some greenery on the fence, and it'll look more rustic, and it'll look like it's opening into like a pretty space, I guess, is the idea for that. And that's Carrie and Larry Katarzinski who are painting that, and that they painted the one on the movie theater. This is the back alley of Breeze, and their fence will be sort of an underwater ocean scene. The back of Bolt's Bakery has this little garage door area, and we can paint on there. This is Easy Street, so right across the street from here, he had to, I don't know what, fixed up the corner of the building, and it is cement block just on the corner, facing both north and west. So it kind of goes around both corners. And this will be a design going all the way up and down. I don't think you guys need this one, do you?
Nope, but I like the
You like
concept.
it? Yeah.
on the
So that'll
postcard.
be when you're coming into town from Hortonville, but this is actually outside of the New London, the line, so,
That'll be on the side of the garage there?
yep. And it's gonna be really bright colors. I'm not exactly sure on the color she'll choose, but the colorful, image I saw had a lot of bright orange, and it was really cool. Very cool. These are the parking, I don't know what these would be called, parking pillars across from the Hilker warehouse. And they will be painted a bright pattern going all the way down there. I think, I don't know the number, but there's a lot of them in a row, maybe 8, 9 of them. And they can be painted on both sides. Johnny's Bait Shop will have a colorful sturgeon looking theme. And these are painted on panels, like the butterfly across from Dairy Queen. They're being painted on panels that will be put up on his building, and it'll be facing west towards the boat landings. I don't know how to describe where this building is. Behind Water Street Vintage, in the parking lot areas by the drive-through First State Bank. If you were coming from the movie theater towards First State Bank in the back, you would see this building. So this up here will be painted kind of an abstract looking sky. This is on the walking trail. If you see back here, this is the waters. So if you're walking past this building, this would be an image put on this side. This is Mathewson Monument. This is the Buyer's Guide parking lot here. And this will be painted to look like a cute and cozy little building. This goes with the other building. So the waters, again, the waters is right here in the walking trail. This image would be painted and designed by Lori. So this building is ginormous, and it's being, yes,
Is this the building?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
that's being renovated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we have to wait and see what the renovations end up looking like
Okay.
before we can complete this.
Okay.
So this could be adjusted a little bit according to where maybe doors or windows are put in here, or I have no idea how it will end up. But this image would be super cool from coming over the bridge by Dairy Queen, just nice and bright and really pretty for the boaters that come through too. And this isn't done as bright as it will be. This is the other side of the building facing the waters. All 3 of those images that are on this building are going to work together and be in the same color palette. So they'll all 3 go together as far as colors, and it'll be really neat. Very huge project. And like I said, we do have to wait for whatever renovations happen there. So this one might be just a little bit later this year or wherever we can accomplish it. The movie theater, on the back, obviously the big bright wall here. This will be, I don't even know, it's a cat on a moon, and there'll be some pretty patterns in here. The artist is Lindsay Uvas, and she painted in Memorial Park on the skate park. She painted the peace sign, the hand. So she did a very good job, and this one will end up looking very amazing, I'm sure. This one is kind of fun. It's going to be way up here. You can see this spot all the way from the corner of South Pearl and North Water Street. When you come into town from Mosquito Hill Way, you can see it. I don't think anybody ever notices it because it blends and goes away. But it's going to be really cool when you can see it. You can see it also when you do the little turnaround in front of by the bakery. If you're pulling out of one of those parking lots and you look down that way, really good spot. Across from Bucky's, this wall here will end up in a fun, funky design, something to this effect. There are some other little spots that we have in mind for little tiny murals. These, for instance, here are the stairs along the river on the back side of the carpet store or Copper Shot. I think those are Copper Shot, and this is, or there might be one more down there by Copper Shot. So there's a couple little spots that can be painted with some fun little designs. Some other steps that are behind the chiropractor, I believe. So little tiny pieces of art that we'll add back there. This is out by Walmart, in between Walmart and Touch and Tan in the old Piggly Wiggly building. This end of the building, I believe these girls take up about half, maybe not quite half. Yeah. So there'll be some more. It's the same artist, so it'll be similar style, but he'll complete the wall with some other little pieces of pop art. These we need to ask you guys. This is a little bit different. This would be Upcycled Art, and we wanted to know how we go about getting permission. If, like, let's say a business, let's say Jolly Roger says, yeah, we wouldn't mind a colorful piece of art. Is that something that can be put by a light pole or in front of a business, or different little decorative spots that these could go? They could go in
Well,
parks or
It's
wherever.
not really a mural,
No,
so it's a little bit
pieces
different.
of art.
So it wouldn't be a mural approval for tonight. Let me think about how that would work out, if there's any, and I didn't look and see if there's any ordinance or something that this
Yeah.
would,
Yep.
go with or conflict or anything like that. I mean, you do see different cities who have downtown art, they've got the tigers or the badgers or something like that they do something, so.
Yeah, Shawano has colorful Adirondack chairs that they have sitting out just randomly down their street. I think it's Menominee, Michigan, has great big flower pots. Those would be another idea. They're huge. They're like 3 foot around flower pots, even in the medians or at different corners randomly, that are painted with art too. I'm just thinking of speckling pretty art of any kind. The bikes, I think if we ask people for bikes, we could get bikes and decorate them up real nice.
I got about 6 in my garage.
Yeah, see?
I don't know
So-
how that'd be any different than all the stuff they put like in front of Water Street Vintage.
It
Yeah.
would
For sale.
certainly look nicer.
Same
Basically the
thing.
same thing.
Yeah.
I think it seems to me there is some kind of an ordinance.
Technically they're putting that stuff in the cities right away.
Yeah.
So we'd have to look into that a little bit. I don't know the ordinance that good, the zoning ordinance to kind of look at this.
And maybe there are
exactly, so.
certain spots that are better or
Mhm.
out of your way. Maybe in the grassy spot, like in the parking lot over here, in between like the strip mall and festival, or, I have no idea. But that could go a real long way in making the place really fun and colorful.
I think my concern would be what would be the liability of the city you know, there's no bike lane downtown and you start putting things, impede traffic and somebody hits it with their bike, is the city liable?
Mhm.
I guess that would be just a concern that we should address.
Yep, maybe we got to talk to a city who has something, and maybe there's something that's together with a waiver, insurance, I don't know. I mean, something to look into by far though.
Okay, and like I said, if you bring it up and you have questions, let me know what they are. Or if we can go ahead, I mean, it would take an awful lot of planning and time, so.
We would probably have to know where they were gonna go.
Well, I don't want to go
That
checking
decision.
around for where they're gonna
Yeah.
go if I'm doing it wrong. So I'll wait to hear from you what's possible and then I
Yeah,
can
don't
go.
waste your time if it's
Yeah,
a
it's a lot of
liability
time.
thing.
So as soon as you let me know what's possible, we can.
I would
start
say
looking.
that you could probably go into more of the green spaces,
Sure.
you know, and maybe
Yeah.
at this time avoiding the sidewalk, especially if there's some plans for renovating downtown, maybe that would be where to incorporate art into that renovation part of that.
My other concern, Chad, would be vandalism. I mean, you just talked about stuff that was happening in the parks. Is this stuff gonna, all your hard work and somebody's
Everything
gonna
has a
vandalize?
possibility of vandalism. I do see like at the skate park, one of the murals already has, a spot and I already heard who did it. So we're gonna have to go touch it up, but,
Do you know when that happened?
no, I didn't ask exactly, but it must have been not too long ago.
Because we got cameras down there, so I mean,
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's like there was 3 young kids, I won't say names, but I only recognized one of the names, but they must have really picked and there's like a spot that's like this big of missing paint. So
what's,
it's on the skate park side, the north side.
Okay.
So, I mean, we do understand that there could be vandalism, but there could be vandalism on a crappy looking, who knows what, you know what I mean? Like everything has a possibility. It's just, I don't know.
Right. It's just, I guess my concern would
Yeah.
be the man hours it's gonna take to clean
Right.
up the vandalism. Have we have it, you know?
Yeah,
The park guys have responsibilities and they're already
Yep.
complaining because they can't keep a toilet
well,
in the facilities. So,
yeah,
you know, do we want to give more opportunity for more?
yep.
Well, and if some of that is movable, the shop owner could put them inside at night when they're.
Yeah.
Business
I
owners would
was-
want them, they may take that responsibility,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe if the businesses agree to take them, then they're responsible for upkeep or doing whatever needs to be done to keep them in the right locations
Yeah.
and that.
we'll see if we can reach out to other communities that do art on sidewalks and see if they've got some parameters set up in place that we can look at and kind of at least start the conversation there.
Okay. This
But
one.
with those concerns obviously talked about.
This one, I believe we passed last time I was here. But we are working on it. This is a kids mural. This is just an example that I put in here with the lights. The lights are ordered and I have the lights. Water Street Vintage is working on putting a power source up here so we can light them up. But this will be in between Water Street Vintage and this building here. I don't know what apartment like building.
Used to be Borkert's Clinic.
Yeah.
So there will be lights strung in here. And then on this wall will be a gallery style of kids art. I have about 30 pieces so far that are done. So when spring comes, we can hang them up there. It'll be super fun. Looking for more kids through the winter to do this project. All they have to do is let me know what their idea is, and then they're doing these projects on their own at home and getting them back to me. So that'll be neat. This is the buildings behind Pearl Street. These 2 colors are going to be switching because this will be the ocean fence, so it'll be blue. This building will be yellow. This building pretty much stays like it is, like this maroon color. This one stays pink, and this one is going to be the same color as this down here. So that'll kind of be a little fun color scheme back there. This one. So this is a tentative idea to show you what it would look like if we got to add all these fun colors back here. And I'm not sure if you guys got to take a peek at the reflection in the water since the colors have been going up, but it looks so fun. I'm excited. Custom Carpets said we can put colors there. So this would be the 3 colors that would tentatively go here. This one already has color. This one has color. These guys added purple up here already all on their own. So that was fun. The print shop, they did not give us the okay yet on a color because on the side of their building, it's really cracked and the plaster's coming away. So we kind of have to wait on them to do this color here. Hopefully they will come up with a plan to fix the plaster and then we can do something fun there. But Deming Knoll will be a bright, fun greenish color because they have a mural on this little sidewall in between and it goes with that. So they'll be nice and bright. But adding all these bright colors is not necessarily going to be art, but it's just going to be the color that's added. And as the Art League, I mean, this is a huge, huge job. We do have a few groups. We have Emmanuel Church that has a community service group they're forming. They said they would be able to help us by painting the solid colors. They're not artists, but they'll come forward and help. So that would be for this alleyway and also South Pearl Street, the ones I showed you before. There was another group. What was that one?
Community First Credit Union, the Valley, 17 locations.
They have, the Community First has also community service hours that they want to help with. So they're a huge, huge group that we're looking to have help. Examples of Emmanuel helping would be the solid colors, or maybe they will put forth hours in cleaning up trash and litter around the city. There's like so much that they could do. So we're really excited. First State Bank as well. They have a group of, I think 5 or 6 so far that will put hours into the community. So we have this. The one question I have for the city is back here, especially in the alley, we're having a hard time coming up with a plan as to get all the way up to the top of the buildings. I haven't peeked at like wires and stuff like that, but the traffic back there and also those stairs that were along the bottom are really in tricky spots for us to be able to do that. So I'm wondering if the city would be willing to help us coordinate how to get to the top. Like if I have Emmanuel come and help us paint up as high safely as we can, will the city step in and give us the correct way to get up there safely? Or I don't know. I mean, we need to know how and when to shut the alley down. We can't be zooming little, equipment around. That would be ridiculous waiting for cars to go through. I believe the pavement slopes towards the river. So then by the time we're going up, we're going to be away from the wall. And I don't want to be dangerous about it.
I know if you're painting around the electric service to contact us immediately, we will definitely come out and cover that up further for you. So you would not get in any trouble around the electricity because there's a lot of overhead wires and all the electric services that come in. So we would definitely work with you on that.
Okay. Is there, I mean, what did we have, Kelly? What kind of lift?
20-foot boom lift or 34-foot extension with scissors lifts.
I mean, the lift that, you move the arm out, well, we're going to be in the traffic way. The one that you don't lift the arm out, there's stairs in our way. So I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for how to accomplish that.
So, I mean, we're not going to tell you how to do it, because that's going to be our liability then if something goes wrong. So, but I think we work together. I mean, closing off the alley, I mean, we could work on setting up detours, you know, during times that you need to close that down. So I think if it's a matter of you want to use, you know, some type of scissor lift or boom lift or something like that, then you need, you know, time to set for some of that stuff. I think we sit down and talk about, and communication with all those property owners, because they depend, you know, on
Well, that's just
servicing.
one property owner right there on that huge building. So that's
But
one
if you're going to
person.
close down the entire alley to get through, you
Right.
know, that's going to have to be some coordination with that. So, yeah, we'll have to talk about that. That's going to be,
So how do we go about organizing that? Is that like me and you, Chad, or like who?
for now. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, but again, coordination with the property owners, just make sure we talk to them about their concerns, because I mean, they do need access to those locations and stuff. So
Yeah. Is that something that, I mean, is there a certain time of day that's better to shut it off, or who knows?
I think you'd have to talk to all the, you know, owners to find out when their deliveries and such are.
Right.
I mean, I think it's definitely doable. You just gotta coordinate it with everybody.
I think most of the people get the stuff delivered off the main street anyway.
No, I've been stuck back there a lot.
Yeah. The deliveries?
I have. There's a lot of big trucks back there.
We get a lot of complaints about that alley getting plugged. And businesses complaining about, you know, that's how they get their supplies and stuff like that. But I don't think any businesses are against it, just working with them.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be in the way, but I don't know how else to make it work.
you know, if you target more on weekends when they're not having their deliveries, you know, I think we'll have to just figure it out, you know, coordinate and communicate and talk about it.
Okay. I think that's it. Yep, that would be it.
The ones on either side, here, I'll take that back over. So these are not getting painted?
No, those are, nothing's happening with those at this time, or no. This is the tentative okay for this year minus this one for now.
Anybody got any questions?
Are you gonna come back next year with more?
Um,
They never gonna end, you mean.
Yes. Like, at what point is it too much for the city?
I'm losing space for them. But there is no lack of people that want to paint or people that are enjoying them. So I don't know, but
And as ones get old, you can always paint over those
Yeah.
too. So I think the
yeah,
possibilities.
I
are-
think it's great.
yeah.
See,
Actually,
a lot of these murals, they might be a 5-year mural, and they might change in 5 years. Maybe the owner or maybe the artist wants to do something different. It could last forever.
I just had, for example, today my sister called me and she said, she's a hairstylist, and she said, do you know so-and-so? And I didn't know who it was. And she said, well, her little boy was driving around in Clintonville and he said, boy, this place is boring. We need season to come. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But I think a lot of communities are coming to enjoy it. So that's nothing but
Yeah,
nothing but good.
there was some on television here 3-4 months ago that were starting to do this, and I thought, well, that's great. You guys are already ahead of them, so you must be some of the first ones around.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Just not only the artists are having fun, but I think everybody's enjoying seeing them pop up. So this is all I have planned for this year.
Anybody got any other questions?
Quite ambitious.
Or do we want to approve this now, or? do-
Because it's in the ordinance that the planning commission has to bless all
Okay.
murals. So unless there's one that you don't like, but you can just bless them all in one lump sum if you'd like.
In the stuff with the alley here, that can come up at a different time, getting the permission to do the,
Well, and you know, is painting a building a mural?
Yeah.
I think it's painting a building. So-
Yeah, they were already told that this isn't necessarily a mural, but I wanted to bring it up just so that if there was a way for you guys to help coordinate it, or give us whatever you could give us as far as accomplishing it. I wanted to see if that was a thing.
You might talk to some painting contractors too. They might be willing to come and do that portion that you can't reach for, donate their time, and wouldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd look for a motion to approve the murals proposed.
So move.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and second to approve the murals. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Start painting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discuss the potential annexation of zoning request for the lumberyard.
Yeah, let me get the map real quick. Where's my map? Should have brought this up. So I got a call from the New London Building Supply. They're interested in purchasing property just north of their facility now, which is outside the city limits. He talked about possibly purchasing and annexing it into the city. So here's New London Building Supply campus right here. And there's a property right here. Everything highlighted in white is outside the city limits. Everything in color is inside the city limits. So I'll turn off that outside layer right now. So this property right here, which is outside the city limits, they're talking about purchasing just to, add on to their campus right here. And if we bring up our zoning layer, you can see what we have property zoned right now, which this is outside the city limits, it's not zoned. So he just had a cursory phone call just asking what the planning commission thought to zone this the same as his property, which is currently B2 highway commercial. He just wanted to kind of know what you guys thought about that. Randy and I talked about it a little bit. We're not seeing any issues with it. I looked at the comprehensive plan, and it's kind of hard to say, because the picture's not the best on that PDF.
What are his intentions with the property? Does he want to put a building on it?
Parking and storage for his business right now. So and it's not something you got to vote on right now, but he just wanted to know before he jumps into it.
Does he own those two other sheds there?
These?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, it's,
David Vian. And I think, David Vian owns all these.
and Headkey, I think leases them for
The gutter.
gutters and stuff. Yeah, Headkey's get the old broker building.
Oh,
So just kind of wanted to get a general consensus, not looking for a vote right now by any means, but he just wanted to know before they go ahead and put the time, money, and resources into doing that. If you guys are nodding your head that you think that have any concerns not zoning it a B2 commercial, I guess.
Could we go ahead move with the approval of the zoning right now?
Nope, because that'd be an ordinance. So we would bring an ordinance up and jump through all that hoop. So to do the zoning, it'll be a process. So you just want to know if you guys would nod your head in doing that as a B2 in the future.
You don't see any issues with it, Randy, huh?
no, I did not.
Well, as far as the housing around there, there's buildings literally all the way around them. So what's one more, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and we get it into the city as well.
Right, right.
This one just came in the city. That's the Cindy Schultz property. So we don't have that colorized yet, but that's just in the city now too. And that one we did R1, if you remember.
Yeah, that was just a couple weeks ago, last week, yeah.
That's gonna be in its second reading this month, correct?
I believe so, if I remember right.
Yeah. Does anybody have any objections to it at all, or?
Oh, I think it'd be a plus.
I honestly thought
I guess, yeah, go ahead.
So no concerns from the committee or the commission?
We have
Yeah,
everything.
well, everybody's nodding their head.
I will report back to them that there are no concerns at this time doing that.
We love expansion.
Yeah. Okay, looking for the executive agreement on the professional engineering services for that Land use, Chad?
Yep, so in your packet, there was a agreement for working on our comprehensive plan. This is something that Paul Hanlon was working on before he left. Basically, we need to be updating our comprehensive plan on a regular basis. I believe I put in my memo, I did ask the consultant a little bit because, let's see here. If you look at our comprehensive plan, it says year 2030 comprehensive plan. So I'm thinking, well, aren't we good until 2030? And I don't know if you guys read my memo, but he kind of talked about, it's just kind of misleading the way they label it like that. It's supposed to be a multi-year, 20-year planning period, but by state law, and he's got the state statute in there, you're supposed to be reviewing it every 10 years. So this would be looking at pretty much updating the mapping end of it. And you can kind of see in his proposal, the items that we'd be looking at updating. Let me do this instead. So this would not be a complete overhaul. This would just be a start from it, because the better thing would be to do is update the other parts of it once the 2020 census figures come out. And he thinks, I've heard other people say it's going to be a year, it's going to be 2 years. Nobody really knows yet when the census information is going to come out. But at that point in time, then the other parts of the plan would be, it'd be better to update that stuff. So this would be kind of the first step in updating the comprehensive plan, primarily the mapping. So we'll be going through the mapping, which would be a really good exercise for me, at least, to kind of go through that exercise and that process. So what I'm looking at is a blessing from the commission
Was it 700-800?
for hiring Cedar. Let's see, Cedar Corporation to work on the proposed aspects of the comprehensive plan.
Does that have to go to council where it's for the 7,800 to have them start it?
I think so, because the mayor's going to need to sign the agreement. So I think this would be a recommendation from the planning commission to the council for that.
Okay. We'd be looking for a recommendation to do this, and then it's got to go to council for the approval to spend the money.
Is
I would-
that Cedar Company the only one you use, or is there more like that, or is it I just don't know.
Yep, I've heard of Cedar. I use Cedar for a different project in the consulting end of it. I know the last round, there was a different group that did the last round. This is the guy that Paul was working with at the time and got all the information and then stopped. So what research Paul did ahead of that, I'm not sure. But I know Cedar's been out there doing projects like this, and they've been highly receptible or highly regarded in what they do. So no, I did not go out and stop what Paul did and then start all over. So I continued what he started.
Doesn't seem like a huge amount of money that you'd probably get anybody much cheaper anyway, and you wouldn't have to go out to bids for this.
Nope.
Right.
Yeah. I know, I'd look for a motion to consider the execution of the agreement.
I would make that motion.
We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a first and a second to the agreement. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Update on planning issues and other agenda items.
So just to give you an update on the Thrive It sign, the commission suggested that we modify the right-of-way, if you remember, to accommodate the Thrive It sign. I reached out to Attorney Lou Otters, and there's state statutes out there that talks about, if you're going to vacate a road. Technically, we're not vacating the road, we're just modifying the right-of-way. So we're not technically vacating the entire road. So in Earl's opinion, he said that doing a CSM, certified survey map of the Thrivent property, adjusting the boundary to what would accommodate, you're adjusting their boundary line and adjusting the right of way would be the way to go. And then he said, follow up with an ordinance to basically you're changing the city map in that aspect. So he felt that was, after looking at the state statutes, the appropriate way is do a CSM and then do an ordinance modifying the city map. So I reached out to Carroll Land Surveying, the one we use a lot for our survey work, got a cost estimate for that of about $1,500 to do a CSM. And that's I've seen everywhere from $1,000 to $1,500, depending on the complexity to do a CSM like that. I got that quote. I reached out to Travis at Thrivent. There was a little, like, I think a sticker shock that he was gonna have to do something like that, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. After that, I was contacted by the sign company who's actually doing this work, and it sounds like, from my understanding, this sign company is doing the signs for a lot of different Thrivents. I mean, it's kind of like a multitude thing. So I think corporate Thrivent is getting the sign company to do all that. So they reached out to me and they asked me what the cost was, and I told them. They reached out to Thrivent corporate, and she got back to me saying that Thrivent corporate is interested in paying that CSM fee. So I basically told her, great, awesome. I just need a letter on letterhead with a signature saying that you guys are going to pay for this, and then we'll proceed forward. So I have not received that yet. I'm waiting on that. So as soon as I get that signed letter saying that they agree that they're going to pay the CSM fee, we'll move forward with doing the CSM, modifying that right away, and kind of going from there.
That right away, that gives them ownership of that land that, so
We would be giving them that land as part of their parcel then, yes,
And they don't have any frontage now.
correct.
And
I'm
they
okay with that,
maintain
but
it.
does giving it away, is that the right thing to do as far as, are you opening a can of worms there?
I would think we would be less liable if we don't own the property than if
I
we
agree
do.
with that, but
Yep.
do you sell it to them? Do you put a price on it? Because if you start giving away land, then where does it stop? Like I understand, it's only a 10-foot strip, but next one, maybe it's a 20-foot strip or 30-foot strip, or like, where does that stop?
Well, we're trying to accommodate them so they can have a sign and the city isn't liable.
It's taxable property and, I mean, it's just good business.
Well, I agree, but
And there's been other situations where,
we've
if Bob
done
would remember, at the end of Beacon, we vacated the end of Beacon
Yeah.
to both sides, and that, I don't think we sold it to them.
No, we
at
give
all.
we give that to
Yeah,
them.
you vacate it and you give it to either side of the property owners there. So there, it does happen, but I think it's on a case-by-case basis, depending on,
It's been done all along
Yeah.
the river out there, all the streets that were going in. The city vacated the street and give it to the two landowners to kind of keep, and so we were giving them, some land actually.
Well, and it's like the mayor said, it's now back on the tax roll.
Yeah, right, correct.
so I think it's a case-by-case basis, depending on what it is, and a benefit to the city.
And they sounded as though at that last meeting, when Kevin was here and the other guy, that they didn't have a problem paying for something. I mean,
Well, they were talking about the insurance-wise, if it was still in the right of way.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they talked about getting on the insurance, but in this
Yeah,
case.
oh, yeah, putting it onto their insurance.
Yeah, if it was in the right of way, yeah.
I mean, it's a win-win. They're paying for the survey. They're having, they're increasing the property value. They're keeping it looking nice by a new sign. It's a win-win for everybody, I think.
Anybody else got any comments on that? We don't have to act on that anyway.
That was just an update where we were at.
Anybody else got any comments about it? Okay, you want to go on to future items?
Just real quick, site plan review, I expect that to be at the next meeting from Midwest Properties. That's the developer we're working with in the industrial park for that property that's kind of northeast of Northland Electric. It was either Monday or Tuesday. We've been on this for a while, and it's all been hinged on the developer getting a signed lease agreement from the tenant. And I was told that finally was signed either Monday or Tuesday this week. So we've been kind of waiting on that. So it sounds like they finally got a signed agreement with that. So now we're going to finally move forward with some of these things. So prepare for a site plan review for Midwest Properties next week. There'll probably be a CSM that I've got a CSM started with that. We'll have to look at the CSM next month for that as well. We still have on the plate for considering the variance for 813 West Wolf River Avenue. And then also, it seems like everything's coming in twos, whether it's a sign or something else, but we got the same request for reduction of the 15-foot flood fringe from, and Randy's working with somebody at 312 Elm Street. I don't know if you want to give it just a quick update of what that's all about.
Sure. It is the same exact thing. They can't make the 15-foot setback due to lot constraints. So they're going to want to put up a retaining wall and elevate the home to get it out of the floodplain.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this one was new construction, new building?
Correct. This is new construction.
Yep.
They're going to demo the existing home and put up a new home.
Are they gonna propose a design to us with the retaining wall?
In a residential area, I don't see it being a concern, as in a commercial area where you're right on a walking trail.
I guess my concern is because if it floods and we don't have that, do we accept some responsibility? I mean, because if we grant the variance, there's extreme requirements from the DNR to meet that flood. You know, if the property floods, that retaining wall has to maintain that in a flood situation. So there has to be design aspects that I'm concerned about. And that's my main concern with Cindy Bungart's property, is not allowing her to do it. My main concern is, what is she doing with it? Is it going to comply with the DNR's regulation? I looked at their regulations. They have soil compaction requirements, and there's a lot of engineering that has to go in. If we just grant the variance and she puts in railroad ties, that doesn't meet the DNR's requirements for a retaining wall. That's going to
You
be a
can
flooded
grant the
property.
variance with the condition that it is constructed per DNR requirements.
In compliance.
Yes.
And she brought us a site plan that was virtually a black line saying, this is my retaining wall.
I've been in contact with the designer to get a
Okay.
typical 3D view of that area, so
Appreciate
you
that.
can see what
Okay.
she's doing.
Good.
Randy should be coming back because they got to get a permit for the retaining wall because it's
Oh,
structural,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
And at that point in time, I make sure that it has stamped, or not necessarily stamped, but
Okay.
has the construction details on it, so we comply with DNR regulations.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looks like that's about it then, huh?
yep.
Review the next meeting date.
Looks like the fourth Thursday in February is February 25th.
Everybody all right with that date?
February 25th.
Anybody got anything else?
Did anybody go to that
Oh, I did not finish that. That's tomorrow.
meeting on the 26th with the
90
development?
days.
Oh, let me give you an update on that quick. So at the economic development meeting, they reviewed the two developers that had projects going on there. After discussion, the Economic Development Committee did recommend that we move forward with SC Swiderski for a multifamily use development there. And that's just the first step to try to come up with a developer's agreement and really start getting the details figured out.
I appreciate
What's
that.
going to look like, where's it going to go. We have several utilities there that, Jason and I and whoever else is going to have to really work with the developer on, okay, where you want to move, who's paying for what, how this is going to happen. So they picked the developer. Now it's time of getting all those nuts and bolts figured out to come up with a developer's agreement to define who's doing what and move forward. And the council had a joint council meeting with them, and then the council approved that as well right after that. So we will start working with them on
Good.
plans for a multifamily development down there.
I
Is
was
there any
gonna try
discussion
to
about
make it.
placement of the building to accommodate some of that sewer and water that's existing?
Not yet. We will have to sit down with them, and they came up with a conceptual design.
Sure.
And we know that the water and the sewer is too close to the river to get a building in there with
Right.
setbacks. So that's going to have to be moved. It's a matter of how far. A good site plan, I think, is going to have to be figured out. And then once that site plan's figured out, then, all right, this is where the utilities ideally would go, and, start going from there.
That's probably ancient anyway,
No, the water's.
Water main's pretty new.
is
No.
it?
So, and the sewer is very big there because that services a third of the city, or a quarter of the city. So it's
That's
a
the big
big,
concern is the sewer.
big pipe. So, but that's what the developer agreement's for, to get those things flushed out and, well, no pun intended, and go from there.
Good.
So yeah, Jay, we'll be having conversations with
Yep.
them, figuring out the site plan and going from there.
For a motion to adjourn.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All in favor?